We never come forward and say we don't need capital.
No cap. To be capped up.
9 o'clock on the dot, no you should tap me. Here for an hour, I promise this talk is heavy. I'm cooking, just get it started, don't go asking if it's ready. I'll be damned like we bout to break a levee. I sweat all of this content, push my conscience to a beautiful dark, twisted fantasy. I'm a monster, my posture looking like we was winning Oscars. Far from an act, but still acting like we got sponsors. Define us by the work we do, you know the work of few. Willing to get down in the trenches for the perfect view. So if you at me, then be sure to mention purpose too. And alignment, we own it, far from consignment. I seen the light, it was blind, to contribute this all the timing. Let it breathe till you find it. Get fresh, then set the table for guests. I told you that we was cooking, this compliments to the chef. Let's go. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Cooking the Late Night. I am your host, Cook, and as always, you know I came to bring you the creatives that you need to hear from, need to see, and the people with the vision, and I got the visionary himself here with me today. I'm excited. You guys know we normally just kick off at 9 o'clock, but this one was so special. Had to make sure you guys got it this week. We're going to tap in a little bit sooner. But with that said, we're going to get right into it. So I would like to welcome to Cooking the Late Night my guy, Redell, Spinks. What's good, bro?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm glad you're here. Like, legit, man. You're someone who moves in a space that's like, you know, a silent assassin, I would almost say. You know, but please, for those who do not know, just introduce yourself in a little bit just of what you do, and we can really dive into it together.
Sure. I like to call myself a marketing strategist, behind the scenes, with a lot of brands that you guys are familiar with, a lot of corporate Fortune 500 brands, a lot of athletes as well, and I just kind of remain low-key in the background, doing my thing, just happy to be a part of some cool opportunities and lend a hand when I can.
Yeah, and you know, you say with athletes and background, but you know, I don't think people realize like it's not just a like facade. Like you don't just flirt with this industry and relationships. Like you've built relationships, you know, and even so, like for an example, so for example, like I bring up this photo. Let me let the people see. You know, you had a relationship with a gentleman, just Tyrod Hill. This is a regular day for you, and I only reference that being the case because you know you guys also had like just years of relationship building. So like just like you know, what is it for you when it comes to this space and working with athletes? Like, how did you get started in this field?
I think just right after college, I worked for the Washington Redskins for a very, very short amount of time. Met some great people there. That's actually where I met D'Angelo Hall. Started working with him for about 5-6 years, and then D'Angelo introduced me to Tyrod, and it just kind of spiraled from there. I've just been a big person that there's equity in valuable relationships, and so I try to just sow seeds into people, do right by them, and just value the relationship that we share, and it's paid dividends for me, I guess.
No, and the beautiful thing about how you move, like you move in that way just genuinely, but it's also how your business moves. So like even when it comes to, and this may be even grander, and I would love to backtrack a little bit later, but like even in terms of like sponsorships and obtaining them, like how do you go about nurturing these opportunities, especially just when so many are looking to build it with these brands?
Yeah, I think that the relationships I build with people are truly organic. I'm not looking for anything. I think in the long run, I'm more interested in providing value to you, and then once you understand that I'm here to be a value add or an asset to what you have going on, then when the time is fitting, we both align, and maybe that's a partnership opportunity with the athlete, maybe that's a corporate brand opportunity with BYOB or some of the corporate relationships that we share. So I think that I focus more so on pouring into people and trying to cultivate relationships more than just trying to secure the deal initially, and it's worked out well.
Yeah, and you mentioned BYOB, and you know, for those who aren't familiar with BYOB, Build Your Own Brand. It's a network. It's something that like literally came together 2 years running prior to COVID shutting down, year 3 for that opportunity. But you know, one, you call yourself the director of influence. Like what is that? Like how did you come up with this vision and brand?
My dad is always on me about, you know, you're born with influence. Everyone at every level, and you know, will you use your influence for good or for bad? And so I just kind of came up with that cool kind of name. You know, before everyone kind of coined themselves an influencer or what have you, I just felt like, you know, I wanted to be the person that people looked at as the relationship manager or curator of influential people. I feel like I sit at the intersection of those relationships, and I thrive there. So
yeah. And the better part of what I've seen and just this in totality, like you seem to be like a serial entrepreneur, right? Like, you know, BYOB is a brand that you started, and as well as, you know, your marketing agency we're going to dive a little bit more into. But just when you were in college, like what was your major? Like what was the path for you originally, or was this always it?
Yeah, I majored in business management. I minored in sports marketing. Didn't see everything that I would eventually become today, but I just knew I wanted to be in business. I knew I didn't really want to work for other people, so I've taken some time. I've had jobs before, you know, that people may not know about. You only see the rise, you know what I mean? You don't really see the journey, but I've had jobs. I've learned. I've paid my dues. I've grown a long way, and you know, over time I've just developed an attitude that, like, hey, you know, the answer's out there. I'm going to be the one to figure it out. And when you are solution oriented, when you deliver, when you execute, people got to pay for that. And so it creates opportunity.
I mean, and that's valid. And the thing that you do is execute. So you even mentioned like having jobs before. Was it a pivotal moment in that time when you were like, yo, this isn't for me? Did you have your next move set up in the entrepreneurship, or was it like, I just know I can't do that and figure it out on your way?
Right. I think I have vision, and I think that as a man, as a leader, you have to have vision. You have to know where you're going. If you don't have vision, then you can't expect people to follow you. You know what I mean? And so for me, I've always been that guy that, you know, at a job, like, yo, this is my last week. You know, everybody's like, you just got promoted. Like, trust me, don't even worry about it.
I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with this.
I've always had that in me. You know, I remember my first job, Models. I was working in the footwear. You know, I love sneakers, and I'm in you know, 15 years old, and I'm like, I could be the manager. You know, I just always kind of had that about me, and so I'm humble enough to understand that it's going to take some time, and I want to grow, but I definitely wanted to. I'm very ambitious and very eager to always kind of seek new opportunities.
Yeah, no, and I love that, and so, all right, you knew you was going to be the man, you knew you was going to make these moves and changes. Talk about what went into starting your marketing firm. Like, was it just like a calling a friend? Like, how did it go about nurturing a relationship and convincing friends that, let me give it a shot, like, let me try to put things together for you?
Yeah, again, I think, again, it's relational. You know, you start with one opportunity, you just work your butt off, and it leads to the next. From there, you deliver. From there, you deliver, and you just do right by people when it works out.
What's up, man? No, that's a bet. No, definitely. Yeah, we moving things around a little bit tonight. You know, see the man in town, so people got to stop through and show love. But you know, the one thing that you even talked about was like building relationships and having this vision and securing those opportunities. You know, and I wanna cut over for people to see, like, what does some work like yours look like? Like, what does that kind of connect to? So just to.
That's a video shot this summer. Cortland Sutton, he's a Pro Bowl receiver with the Denver Broncos. That's featuring Tyrod also. So we were out in Atlanta just shooting some content of Cortland and Tyrod working out, and that's a little bit of that. And
so, like, just again, and prior to that, we just talked about how, like, you even started, like, this is like the now, but you know, with where you were and knowing what these relationships were and how they would move and how they would do. Did you ever get nervous about the risk you took? Like, what was your pivotal moment that says, you know what, this is for me? Like, I actually like this here. Like, what was that for you?
Yeah, I've never really been the nervous type. I've always seen pressure as opportunity and not nervous. I mean, what's the worst you can do is fail and go back to whatever you're doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've always kind of had a mindset that if the opportunity exists, it's there for the taking, and why not me, you know? So again, very eager, very ambitious, never scared of a moment, you know what I mean? I just felt like, hey, I've worked my butt off, there. A lot of people don't see I'm up very early every morning. I go to sleep, 3, 4 in the morning, you know what I mean? And so I don't feel like there's a lot of people willing to put that type of work in, you know what I mean? And so those who are willing to sacrifice sacrifice weekends or put the work in, sacrifice sometimes even a personal life, I think it'll make all the difference. And, in my early years thus far, I've been willing to pay that price, so.
And I think that's like, and understanding it from that standpoint is like, people, as you mentioned, they don't see the sacrifice. They only see the result. They only see what you decide to show them too.
Sure.
And so when you're in this process of discovering what greatness is for you and
Sure.
what it looks like, how do you view trial and error?
Right.
Like, is it more of a, look, we need to make sure there's a strategy into the T, or is it, let's just swing for the fences and take it from there?
I think I want to go big all the time. I don't do anything to fit in. I want to be disruptive, as we call it these days. And so I think if I got an opportunity, I'm gonna try to blow out the water. Everyone around me understands. I'm very laid back and lighthearted, but when it's go time, you know what I mean. I'm front line with it. I want all the opportunity to show off, the team that we've assembled together and what I feel like we can deliver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. For me, again, I don't shy away from the moment, and so when the opportunity is on the line, I want the opportunity. I want to deliver.
And I mean, talking going big, like I wanted to show this like little clip of pre. So like that was like y'all taking over like the Atlanta Falcons Stadium before the BYOB retreat. Like, talk about that moment of seeing something that you were a part of, like the seed of BYOB. Talk about the beginning stages of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is I think year 2, Atlanta. About 3,000 attendees came out downtown Atlanta, and so that was the speakers reception. Guest reception that we have on Friday evening, held at the new Falcon Stadium. Real cool opportunity. Again, just on behalf of the BYOB team, the opportunity to allow speakers from all over the country to just enjoy like an intimate time together before they actually pour into other people. And I was able to help lead that on behalf of the BYOB team. So it was real cool. Stadium was beautiful. Those stadiums. So that was dope.
Yeah, and with this, like again, we talk about just this opportunity. At that time, you had your marketing plan going. What interested you about building something like BYOB? Like, what did you see in that vision?
Yeah, I think in college there was one professor, and he was a former sports agent. And I really understood that I would pay attention in those classes because I felt like he was really in the field versus just like textbook work, And so I began to understand that, I wish I had somebody like them when I was, going through my college years or just early professional. And so as I began to, experience some success, I felt like I wish I had somebody like me who would tell you, hey, cook, make a right now, or make a left, or do what you want to do. But I'm telling you, from my experience, how I've been successful or the pitfalls that I've had, and how you can work to overcome that. And so BYOB for me is a community that we are able to give back to others and give people a platform to share their stories, engage, interact with other like-minded young professionals, and potentially advance their careers. I've seen people get engaged, people get married. You know what I mean? Just some great opportunity and a lot of relationships fostered. And if no deals are made, all good. But you meet great people, and I think relationships for a lifetime. And so who knows what that may lead. And so for me, BYOB has been that community that I've been able to kind of help foster along with our team, and it's been a great experience thus far.
Yeah, and you instantly showed that thought process what you had when you were like, I wanted to see someone like this for me
sure.
in my school. And so even that year, you guys took the opportunity to bring out, the kids that actually attended the high school that you went to. Like, that's a full circle moment for you. What was it like standing on that stage in that moment?
Right. Yeah, it's dope. 25 students from Eleanor Roosevelt, where myself, Andre, Alexis, and Andrew all went to high school. We're a few years apart in our own respect, but to be able to help those students kind of execute a course, leading up to our conference, and then just being able to pour back and they kind of had a dual experience at the conference. Some of it was volunteering, and the other part was like sitting in sessions and actually getting some real-time experience. And so that was real cool. Again, me at my core just want to give back to people. Wanting these students to feel like, hey, Redell is there for me. He's experiencing a part of success that I may want in my life at some point, and being able to help their journey, be expedited in any way. I feel like I've done my part, so that's cool.
Yeah, no, that was just a really great moment to see, and I say that as someone who was an attendee that year.
Yeah.
Like just seeing that you guys, even in year 2, we're looking for ways to give back. Like most people are like, no, we gotta wait till we on, like we're really out there. But I think the fact that you guys are doing as build it's the phenomenal thing.
Yeah, genuine. I think if you give back along the way with pure intention, again, like I said, my relationships are organic. I don't force anything. I'm not saying everyone's gonna love me. You know what I mean? But I do have the right heart and mind as I'm connecting with people, and give it back is I feel like part of my duty. You know what I mean? So I find joy in helping the next wave, be better, hopefully better than I've been.
And with that, and with how you move, like we talked a lot about education, even from you going to school and going to business major in sports industry.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that there's maybe some missing part of curriculum that you would recommend? Like, look, like as these new opportunities are going forward, as things are changing, like as influence is an actual like paying opportunity now, like as someone who's a director of it, do you see this becoming something that is educated in the way that others can learn how to kind of follow your path?
Yeah, I mean, I think now the school system or the offering of education needs to be adjusted. These young people need to learn about credit, about debt, about debt to income ratio, about how to use social media properly to benefit them, and just understanding overall how to exercise their options. I mean, college is not for everybody. Just have a plan and execute that plan. For me, there's no plan B. It's plan A is going to work. You know what I mean? That's just my work ethic, my ability to connect with people, and pour into people most importantly. And so I think from a curriculum standpoint, if we could modify the curriculum to not be so much about textbook, but about real life circumstances and opportunities that young people and ourselves included face every day, is more beneficial to your well-being than day-to-day traditional learning, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that you have to take into account not only the change in technology that takes place, but the limitation of the process, because even for something to get into a textbook, it takes years of approval from board members that by the time it gets in a book, it's already outdated.
Yeah, I mean, and from board members who, quite frankly, in the most humble way, don't even have my type of experience. You know what I mean? Like, the way I'm growing, the way I receive information, you might not watch the news. Your news is now a social media outlet, and if that board member who has to approve a textbook curriculum doesn't understand how to receive information in that creative way, then again, essentially, it's a disservice to the student because they're not relational. They're not relating to how that student learns in a way, and everybody has different learning models. So yeah.
And the one thing that and like going beyond, because again I know that the marketing is what have a lot of clients. Like one, I mean me, I'm an Eagles fan. I see you at Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
Like one, first and foremost, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Need him to do big numbers this year. But like, talk about like acquiring and getting connected with these athletes and spaces.
Yeah, it's a process, man. Athletes are a very, very unique type of client. They have, they invite you to their intimate space, whether they're married, have children. There's a ton of confidentiality involved, and I think that's rested a lot on my personality because I am very laid back. I'm not like a kind of show and tell type of guy, and there's no knock on that, but just around the respect of like who I'm around. I try not to show too much and give away their personal space. I mean, because you are in some very unique spaces, around family, around just kind of private, intimate moments. You know what I mean? You just want to have respect for those opportunities that you're fortunate enough to be in. And so you gotta just move right, in the best way I can say that. Miles is dope. He's a pleasure to work with. Going into our second year working together, and it's been a joy, from Penn State to seeing him now as one of the top running backs I feel like in the game,
Yeah,
not just the NFC East, but in the game, he's a special dude. So
yeah,
it's been cool.
No, I think again, Houston seen him his rookie year, and I was like, yeah, he's got that run in him. He moves well. That's why I'm glad that they named him the star. But that's not here nor there for today's show. But you said a lot of key things there, because moving right is something that it feels like it does need to be re-educated to a lot of people, especially given social media. Like everyone feels like everything in every space is a moment to put on social media.
Right.
How do you really go about fostering relationships and showing people like, yo, that's not the wave, like, and getting yourself in those intimate spaces, like, what does that look like to maneuver in?
Right. Yeah. I think when you do right by people, when you have good relationships and pour into people, I truly believe that it just leads to the next organic opportunity. And it's a unique balance. I do have to show some things just to understand that I'm credible and you can trust, what I say I can deliver. But it's also, again, that other fine balance of, hey, I'm kind of laying in the wind just to allow, the talent to be the talent, and not want to become bigger than they are.
Sure.
I'm here to serve, bro, and here to just represent them and do what I can, whether it's on the athlete side, on the brand side. And so I just try to make it about the work and make it about what I'm able to deliver and execute, and less about myself. What I mean? So.
And for those who may not even understand, like, just what moving right could feel like or look like this is like just a regular day pull up for you. Hop off the PJ, and that's not even just to highlight that, but it's to show that there is still access to the lifestyle that you want without being a character in the front. Like when did that click for you? Like, when did you realize that I can still live this life without having to go to the grocery store and people stop me?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my dream job was to work at Nike. Being a former athlete, that's all I wanted to do was work at Nike, figure out how to work with the athletes and be a part of like the branding and the strategy, creating aesthetic behind like commercials and just what the look and feel would be, and like how that affected like consumer engagement, like leading to a sale. You know what I mean? And so just kind of coming up and then developing relationships and just kind of growing in the space, I kind of begin to see like, I don't have to work at the brand to have the influence of a brand. You know what I mean? So the creative agency space became my lane, and so it's something I really didn't know about. Like, as I studied in school, like creative agency has become like a new term, what I mean, over the last few years. But it's been my path. It's been cool.
And I think even realizing that, because it's almost like, in fact, that reminded me of the Jay-Z quote where he's like, I made the Yankee hat more famous than the Yankee kid. Like it's that mindset. It's like, yo, you know what? Exactly. Like, if I move the way that I'm supposed to in the right spaces, it's going to open up where I can even make them look better. And so when you get in a space like that, how do you end up like turning that over into a situation of profit for you, like in a partnership and sponsorship? Because I think that's the big play. Like, I can't work for Nike, but I'm active enough where y'all want to work with me.
Yeah. We've done some cool things, man. We've been a part of, opportunities with, the Nikes, the brand Jordans, the Adidas's, the Under Armour, just like all the Coca-Colas, all the cool brands, man. And I think for me, what I try to do is I try to strategize how a talent or a brand can be amplified through like a creative strategy. And again, like when I align with like their mission or their purpose, is what they want to achieve. I think then I become I think what my natural knack is, and that's like a solution oriented person. I'm always thinking about how to solve what the issue is, less about like, oh man, that happened to me, but more about like what can I deliver to overcome. And I think when you think about that from a brand perspective, it allows you to maybe kind of circumvent what the issue of the economy is. I mean, we're seeing that today as everyone is tasked with pivoting, these times. I sat back for, really a strong 2 weeks, and it was like, if you don't have some type of virtual or digital, offering, it's not looking
quiet
good
for you. It's real quiet.
So, thankfully, everyone that we've been a part of, from BYOB to, on the creative agency side, I've been a part of, a team that's been able to pivot and find some success. But again, just mainly because I'm very hyper focused on what a brand needs to do to, kind of circumvent, issues or challenges.
And I think again, it's that vision, right? That is what separates those who are consider themselves influencers and someone who's a director of influence, right? Because for just in general purposes, it was quiet for a lot of people on the creative side or influential world when things were closed. So it's really starting to.
I think sometimes, and this is no knock, but influencers get used. Like, I'm more trying to create the opportunity.
Yeah.
And when you create the opportunity and you create the relationship, you can put Cook in, you can put this person in when they align with the brand. It's not saying like, oh, when the opportunity rests perfectly for Cook, then he gets a call. I'm trying to be the person that creates the opportunity, and then you can plug in the right talent or the right brand to create the influence that you want to have or the delivery that you want to have. So.
Yeah, no, I think again, it's that mindset switch. You're looking from the owner's box, not from the bench up.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different.
And again, there's no knock on
because
anybody who getting money, making a great living from doing paid ads to posting about brands, get that check.
No, and I say that in the same retrospect of like I would say like even. If just using the sports analogy of LeBron James, who's using the vessel of basketball to be an owner and other things. Like you can still take that money from influencing and paid ads and do other things. It's just that there's often a funnel of waiting for an opportunity instead of creating an opportunity.
Sure.
And I think that's exactly what you were kind of in a space for. And I love how that is movement wise. Yeah. Because now you don't. It's more proactive instead of reactive.
Absolutely, yeah.
And bigger than that, it's like now defining, what your legacy is going to be.
Sure.
You get to change that a little bit.
Sure.
So like for yourself, this is normally like the conclusion question, but even just in this moment, like what does legacy feel like or look like for you?
A few things, man. One, I want to give back. That's at my core every day. I want to help people. I'll spend any amount of time on the phone with anybody trying to learn, or whether they're giving me information or I'm pouring into them about my journey, my story. That's number one. Number two is I want to create change for my family. I believe that I've had some experience.
You're good.
Yeah, I believe I've had some experiences that, could help, kind of continue to amplify the trajectory of like my family's, thinking, our well-being, everything. And so that responsibility I'm cool with, So, and I have a brother, he's doing great things too. And so we carry that load to, just try to introduce our cousins, I got some cousins who are actors, who are writers, and they're doing great things too. And so we huddle up, we have calls, we try to motivate one another, and we just try to, carry that load for our family to, take us to new places and new heights. I believe that each generation should experience some new level of success, you know what I mean? And then the last thing is I have a daughter, she's 7, and so it's like, how can I change, her experience of, growing up from what I had, for me, 2-parent household, things were cool, you know what I mean? But not for basketball, was like going to school for free or anything like that, I don't know. So, just the knowledge and the understanding of different, acumen that I'm fortunate enough to be around, just making sure that I share that with her so that, her experience is, a little bit more expedited than mine was. So,
yeah. And I mean, with that, like with that type of vision and mission, like how do you balance yourself in the load of it? Like how does it not become too much when you are delivering at this volume, and then at home you're like feeding and pouring in? Like what does that feel like on you?
Yeah, I mean it's a challenge. I mean I've I got a great circle of friends and family, and I've learned over the years to kind of spend some time resting where you can, whether it be, on the weekend, just, not answering my phone for 2 hours, or, going to get massages routinely and developing that into, my kind of schedule and cadence. Another thing I've kind of thrived on is just making sure like I'm up in the morning, like walking and running, doing something where I don't take a phone call or I don't do anything. I think that's just my time to, just be a vessel and think and pray and, just meditate before, your day kind of gets going, and anything can happen, so.
I love that, man, and I think that's the that's the takeaway for anyone who's in this space, like because when you're creative, your mind never stops.
Right.
Like I'm sure you're always thinking. You could think of a lot of possibilities and options to execute.
Right.
How do you know when to cut things off?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Again, wanting to have a personal life in some way. Whether you want to date, whether you're married. I think that you owe it to your partner, your spouse, to kind of sometimes put the reins on things, and you're with the right person. They understand and respect that you work hard and that you are ambitious, but you also owe it to them, your entire family, to kind of slow things down sometimes, and make it about other people and not just your work. You don't want to just be all work. You know what I mean? You want to just diversify who you are as a person, and so that's a tough task. It's been a challenge for me. Transparently to develop work-life balance, but it's something that I've been working at diligently to just kind of put some benchmarks in place to make sure I kind of have the ability to shut things down. A big part of that is what we've been experiencing over the past few years is scaling your business so that you can delegate responsibility and not everything on my shoulders. And just entrusting in people that hey, I'm bringing great people to the table as well who can deliver at a high level, which takes some of the pressure off of what I'm tasked to do.
Now, and my last actually just question is that not even last question, but my question to that specifically, because I actually like where that thought is. How do you not condition like yourself in delegation, but like transition the relationship? Like, is it like, hey, I know that we were the one, I was your point of contact, but kind of go through them. Like, how is there a proper way to kind of massage or build a relationship in that regard?
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes people want to deal directly with you, especially on the athlete side. There's not much wiggle room to just say like, hey, this is my boy Cook. He's gonna handle that now. But again, it's just the comfortability over time that you've been working with them, you've been delivering. They trust your reputation and the people that you would have them around, knowing that you have their best interests, and when the time is right, without leaving them alone. You're still their blanket while they're with the opportunity, but you're there to just kind of help kind of transition so that you can focus on other opportunities. Really.
No, I think that's the better way to execute it, man. And my final thought first, again, thank you for the time, man. Thank you for the conversation.
Absolutely.
It did a lot even for me and my understanding. But you know, I asked you the legacy question, so I would like to close this one out in more of a direction of just with how, for me, I felt like 2020 has been like almost like a hyperbolic time chamber of like just focus and change and evolution.
Yeah.
What's been just your mental transition in this time, and what's been your biggest key takeaway in the year so far?
Oh man, it's allowed me more time to spend with my family and just, you know, rest. I think all of us, you now are more attentive to things that, you know, you might have just glanced by and kept it moving because life is moving so fast. So with this time, just being able to slow down, you know, enjoy my family and friends, focus on, I feel like, what's most important, you know, your health, your well-being, you know what I mean, just developing a regimen that, you know, allows you to just experience, you know, success in all phases of your life, is what I try to take advantage of. And then I guess from a work standpoint, the biggest thing is the challenge of pivoting helped, I feel like, birthed a new creativity in everybody that showed you, hopefully that you can, make money and be successful in a variety of ways. You know what I mean? Not the traditional, maybe brick and mortar opportunity or the traditional, hey, this is how we make money. But just, it's kind of resting on some creativity. So
yeah,
pretty cool.
Nah, I love that, and again, man, I think the biggest thing for me from that is just understanding like the appreciation of the now, like having that time to slow down and talk with your family, and having that time to figure out who you are and move the way that you want. Again, thank you. How can people support what you do, or like, is there a way to support what you do?
I guess just follow me online at Spinks. Follow BYOB Live. Follow Cook. It's a great show, great platform for people to just tell their story, share their journey, and again, maybe help, be a blessing to someone else and expedite their process by, just sharing some information. So it's cool. Happy to be here. Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you, bro. So, all right, so look, it's been another amazing episode. We are going to get ready to keep rolling for you guys as the night's going to be amazing. But for this particular episode, follow him again at Spinks. Follow the organization at BYOB Live. And for anyone that has any questions, please DM, reach out to me. I can sometimes facilitate to get to Dell. If you're another creative that's trying to get figured out, has some ideas in marketing strategy space, and we'll see what we can help you out.
It's not that hard.
It's sad, but as much as it feels like it's not that hard, on the outside for people trying to figure out nowadays, it's like an ocean. It's like, let me like see how many people I can network with, especially when outside was open. You know how many conferences we had to go to and just hope you get to the right spaces. So, I definitely agree. But like I said, you the go to this. So I'm just happy to be here, happy to be a part of it. You guys, my creators out there, keep cooking. We'll see you guys soon.